It's not about spaceships.
Hi, I'm Jason Ward, and this is Rob. Old Rob, the sketch crafter. And that was our theme song by the Kurtz Boys.
That's what Taco Bell's cooking.
That's what Taco Bell is cooking up right now for you. Star Wars Special Edition Happy Meal toys. All
in a
39.
just universe, I'd be getting ready to get the Book of Boba Fett little wind-up toys that be coming in the Taco Bell Happy Meals, right?
Yeah.
Like, every time we get ready for a new show, I'm like, another show and no more fun promotionals, you know? Like, it's a bummer.
Yeah, I want to get like disgusted by looking at it like after like a week. You know what I mean?
I want a Mandalupa, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a chalupa, but with like, you know, shaped in like a Mando helmet or something.
I mean,
empanada.
it makes you feel any better. The McRib is back.
It never left if you count all the byproducts. You know,
true.
Like,
I mean, you probably still have some like in your colon, just like hanging out in there with the fiberglass bits that are embedded into it.
All right, Tim Rogers.
Yeah, that's what that is, though. But yeah, we got
How you
Star
doing?
Wars. I'm good. We took yesterday off. I was just tired yesterday. I was like, you know what? I need a day off. I just need to stay in bed and play Fortnite today. And that's what I did.
Did you get the Dune skins?
No, I didn't
get. You were lining up for those. Did you see anybody using the Dune skins?
I've only seen one guy playing the Dune skin so far, and he was just standing there. And I walked up to him, and I was like, "What challenge do I have to do? Oh, I have to like beat somebody with an axe." So I got the pickaxe. I just got the pickaxe and beat the shit out of him until he died, and did my challenge. I just use those people to like do those hard challenges. I still have not been able to sit through the movie. I keep seeing Bestman Bulletin talk about how it was like a religious experience, and he cried.
I fell asleep in church once. I understand.
Yeah, and an ex of mine who loves Dune was the one reason why I read the book. Talked to her, she likes it, and I have not had the patience to sit through it.
A couple of Star Wars. Hold on, yeah. I got through an hour. Yeah. Right before I'm like, that's enough for now. Like, I'll get back to this. But I did notice some things Lucas definitely lifted for like Star Wars. Like, one, there's a sequence where a killer bug comes into his room and tries to kill him. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that from Attack of the Clones. I'm like, that had to be right when the killer bug comes in the room to kill Padme, I believe. Is that fucking scene where he's killing the little spider hornet thing.
A Cahoon. Which also, the best ripoff of that scene is in Phantasm. He goes to this like fortune teller with this like teenage girl. Put your hand in the box. And I don't want to put my hand. And then he puts his hand in the box and starts going crazy. They just like literally like lifted that. And I think the bar that they go to is like the Dunes or something like that. There's like a little bit of a Dune sequence in Phantasm.
Also, the whole Chosen One nonsense. Now it's like I remember I was supposed to read the book in the 7th grade, but I opted out after a chapter.
Yeah,
and I read Super Mario Bros. 3: The Strategy Guide, which pissed off. That's a book.
It has strategies.
But I remember when the Phantom Menace came out. My buddy in the army who passed away this year, he was telling me how Dune was better. And I was like, I went back and read some of it. And when they get to the Chosen One shit, I'm like, he really put this in here? Like this, the dumbest thing in this book was the worst part of there's no reason for a Chosen One. Just could have been a good dude who made a real bad decision. But now it's the one to save us all. Like it's the least interesting part of Star Wars, in my opinion. And this is the whole focus, huh? We're doing this.
Well, Star Wars and like Dune, like from what I gather, the big difference is that one clearly goes into what that means, and one's like, I'm going to pretend like this means something in case I need it later, you know? And but I don't think I'm going to.
Man, I wanted to like it, but I don't. I wish. It's a shame. You know how a lot of people feel James Cameron should be making 800 Avatar films and should be making more of something. I don't know what else. We got plenty of shitty Terminator. We got plenty of shitty Terminator sequels. Do we really need James Cameron shitty Terminators? Do we need that?
Do you want James Cameron doing what Kirk Cameron's doing? No, that's why we got to keep him off the streets making cat movies. But
Candace Cameron ain't helping either.
Candace Cameron isn't helping at all.
No, they're not helping. That's how I feel like this guy should be making more Blade Runner films. But this made, I know they could say because it's the pandemic, but it made $40 million opening weekend. All right.
But Dune?
Yeah. And they're like,
I don't know what any of this shit means anymore. So I'm just like, okay.
But the whole reason for no Blade Runner is it didn't make any money, right? Well, it's pre-pandy. Well, then let's use the pandy standards and give us more of that world.
Yeah.
Because the Blade Runner 2049 is a fantastic use of time and story. It's complete. That could have more, but doesn't have to. This movie literally, my friend went to the theater. He went to the theater to go see it, right? And it stops at the end.
Right.
It just stops.
Just stop.
And someone in the back was like, "Mother!" They yelled out, dude. It's crazy.
Well, my thing is like there's something going on with me where I go to sit down and I could play Fortnite right now. But like I started watching you and I enjoyed you. Like the first episode, I was like, this looks a little.
I thought you
like
meant me personally. I was like,
I enjoy
thanks.
you, Rob. But also the Netflix series or whatever. It's streaming on Netflix, and like he's like killing people that look like they're from the WB or the CW or one of those bullshit shows. And I'm like, okay, I kind of into this, but I can't focus on anything like on TV. I'm just not enjoying watching TV for some reason. I don't know if this is like going into the third year of the pandemic, like some form of insanity that is developing inside of me, or what. But I just can't binge watch anything. And boy, is that movie is sort of long. It feels like, at least to me right now. So I'm not knocking it, and like I'm not like if people are enjoying it, I'm like
I'm knocking it. I'll take the hit. Look, man, here's my thing. I literally am about 3 hours into a 10-hour long Tim Rogers review of Cyberpunk 2077, and it's far more interesting than 1 hour of Dune. Yeah. I know people are like, it's so great. Let me just show you something they missed. Quick opportunity, beginning of the film, right? Something any other competent director would have fixed. There's a scene where the main guy, let's just call him Emo, because, or Pattinson, whatever you want to do. He's talking to Aquaman. Aquaman shows up in this really cool looking ship. It's dope. It's got these wings. It comes in, it lands. He comes down. He goes, I'm afraid. I had a vision you're going to die. He goes, you did? Yeah. Doesn't mean it'll happen. Okay. I want to come with you. Can't. All right. Bye. We never spend time with Aquaman. We don't see him going around the whatever. He takes off on a mission to go to Arrakis before they ever get there, the desert planet. And we never see that. It's just, we're just told we're supposed to like this shit. Right? You got to care because he cares. I'm like, this is what Lucas learned from storytelling. I blame this guy. The Dune guy taught Lucas to not actually show this shit we should care about. Yeah. Like we don't. That's what I'm. There could have been a whole sequence where, like, with no sound because they love to not talk in this thing, or no speaking, where we just see Aquaman doing his thing and then crowd trying to get with people and then you remember the clones when they're.
I saw a video I didn't watch because that's how I do things now. Because I can't watch anything. And then there's this video I didn't watch. It said that there's like a 5-hour cut of the movie that Jason Momoa, I think his name is, talks about. Momoa talks about. And so maybe they did film all of that. But it does I do think that
it's a series.
Would have been a better HBO series.
Yeah.
Than a movie just based off of the pacing and what I've seen so far.
But you want to see ships landing? Did you love that part of the prequel series where we always saw ships landing? Was that not your favorite part? It was so important that the whole opening to Attack of the Clones is one ship landing.
Ships landing. Yeah, I like the one where he backs in so it's easier to leave later. I hate
did you see the truck? There's a YouTube video going around of this guy. They rented a U-Haul. And they go down into like a
they keep hitting the thing,
and they keep hitting, and then they hit it, and raw sewage starts spilling out of the fucking truck.
I saw that, and I was like, "This is a metaphor." And I've lived it. I can apply this to many.
Why am I watching this? Like, there's no answers. That's life.
Eric Denton wants to know: Anakin, a Force ghost in Ahsoka or flashback? Well, if he's in Ahsoka, I think she's pregnant. She's pregnant with a baby Anakin. No, do you think it's a
Force babies is a thing.
force back or force forward?
See, Anakin
forcefully.
Anakin was a product of the midi clone, but really it was a Force ghost that impregnated Shmi. So Anakin then finds out he can have sex, but only in the afterlife.
Right.
So
it's
like Ghostbusters. Remember when Rey's getting the blowjob? Like it's like
yeah, because you needed that scene. You had that. Well, us 5-year-olds needed to know that Ghost could suck his dick.
and Anakin's gonna do what Batman doesn't have the balls to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I only got fingered by the Ghost. So I was kind of like, well, thanks, Dan Aykroyd.
Thanks, Pope. Oh wait, you thought you meant the Ghost? Like, sorry.
It was a Pope Ghost. No, I feel my theory, my working theory is everyone wants a Clone Wars flashback in Obi-Wan, and it's not going to happen. So what they did was they leaked to the mainstream media, the mainstream lying media,
the mainstream media
of the HollywoodReporter.com and your VanityFair.net. And what they did was
GeoCities Astrofire.
Yeah, they're like letting us know there's more of him coming, and therefore if Obi-Wan doesn't do whatever you wanted to do, the Ahsoka one is probably going to do the opposite of that. That's my theory. That's my theory and my guess. You know what I mean? And I think it makes sense. But so
in that case, do we get a new younger actress as Ahsoka, or do they de-age? Do they pull that move?
They might just do some like de-aging onto like a ballerina or something like that. You know what I mean? On like somebody with like Ahsoka the TV shows like body type, and they also have a lot of archival footage of her from movies like Kids when she was young. So it's not like they don't have like video footage that they can also like look at when Rosario Dawson was.
They got the deepfake guy.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna get Casper back. You know,
the ghost.
No, baby, it's Casper. Don't worry, baby, it's Casper. If you see Kids, it's really gross, actually. I think. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So that is my theory. Yeah.
Speaking of Rosario Dawson,
mm-hmm.
So last night I'm watching Kevin Smith's Fat Man on Batman. Mm-hmm. Right, they're at the play. You've been there, the Scum and Villainy Cantina.
Yeah, been there. A lot of times.
So Mark Bernardin is his co-host, and he did a Kickstarter few months back for a short that he wants to direct called Splinter, which I backed because I'm a fan. And he was talking about how they almost cast a lead, but they weren't able to because they weren't available. And Kevin goes, "Oh yeah." And then Mark goes, "It was Rosario Dawson." And then Kevin goes, "Why are you?" He's like, "Well, we always can't talk about stuff, so I just want to talk about stuff."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I was talking to her. She really wanted to do it. She loved it, but she says," and then he goes, "This is great," because he goes, "Yeah, I can't do that because I'm going to be filming a Star Wars in Manhattan Beach." And Kevin is like, maybe you shouldn't mention that." And then Mark goes,
wait, is he filming a Star Wars? Or is
Rosario says she can't do the role because she's going to be he's shooting in December is the thing. So she says, "I can't do the role because I'm going to be busy making a Star Wars in Manhattan Beach." And so Kevin goes, "I don't think we're supposed to mention any of that stuff." And then Mark is like, no, everyone knows she's doing it. It's not like the show's coming out in December.
Yeah.
And he's like, so that it could be pre-production, it could be whatever, but they did everything to get out of that conversation fairly quickly after that.
Yeah. Well, wait, I mean, I could have got my wires crossed, but when I talked to my Ahsoka sources like a couple days back now, I was told that they were going to be filming Ahsoka until late next year. And I don't think they meant they're going to be filming it until late this December, and then they're going to be done with it. I don't think so. I think they meant they're going to start filming it next year and into there. Unless maybe he wanted to film that around next winter.
She could have just been saying that to get out of doing the role, like that. No, Star Wars. I don't want to do this shit right now.
I'm doing the Super Rosario Brothers. It's a new video game I made up just now.
Very clever.
Thank you.
Very clever.
It comes to me, you know. I'm a natural.
Yeah. But it was funny. Side note.
Bespin says, "Shut the fuck up, Rob. It made 225 million worldwide already, and they're factoring in HBO numbers." But once
I don't care. Guys. I don't care how much money a fucking Transformers movie makes. I don't want Michael Bay making another one of them.
But it doesn't mean you can be wrong about Dune because you don't like it. I do want to get like some like super focus going, and I want to sit down and I want to watch it just so I know like what it is, like what's going on with it, and I might like it, but I could not get over the exposition of the opening, and this is a guy who likes Phantom Menace, so I don't understand how people.
It's very Phantom Menace-y.
Yeah,
like, that's why I'm like, guys, the pacing, like, except Lucas was smart to put a fucking pod race in there at some point.
Yeah.
I'm
part of Space Rastafarians myself, but yeah,
it's an hour in, and I still haven't seen Zendaya. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in a flashback, that doesn't count. Like, what movie? Like, it goes, yeah, we'll get to the love interest 90 minutes in. You know, like, okay.
Attack of the Clones kind of got to the love stuff.
No. It happened in between movies. That was even better. Yeah. It's like all the worst parts of Herbert. Is that like a Frank Herbert, whatever? Dune, Frank Dune. Whoever wrote it about himself. Fucking
my grandfather's name was Herbert, so I feel like I am an expert on talking about Herbert.
Yeah. First he wrote books, and then he was a fucking car. So
yeah, and George Lucas made a documentary about Herbie the Love Bug. By the way, he was on
that or Dune, and I fell fucking asleep in the editing bay. So you know,
yeah,
you know.
Caesar says, "Hello, congratulations on the Rise of Skywalker for the 5 Saturn Awards, Mandalorian and the Clone Wars season." Wait, how is Rise of Skywalker? Didn't that come out like 2 years ago? Like, what's going on?
Brett, no, you don't get it, Jason. The awards were given on Saturn. They had to go there, give the awards, and then come back.
Saturn cycles, like, so it still came out this year on Saturn, technically, based off of its rotational size.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me. That makes sense.
They're like 2-year time jump between Dunes 1 and 2. I'm like, great. That means there'll be 15 fucking Marvel shows I can watch in between then. I'll forget all about it. Like, wonderful. Can't wait.
He says you don't see Zendaya until close to the end, Rob.
Wonderful first film. You know.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I don't have an opinion because I haven't finished it, and I didn't quit it out of disgust.
I think that is an opinion.
I don't know if it's. But I don't know. If, you know, like sometimes somebody's like a good person and they're very attractive, and you kiss them and you just don't feel anything, and you're like, it's not you, it's me. That's where I'm at with it right now.
No, it's the movie. No, fuck the movie. I get you want to love it because it's not like you turn it on and it's Billy Zane running around in a purple leotard for fucking 2 hours. Although that would be a movie. I just think that there's a pretentiousness to this that I felt creeping in when I watched Blade Runner, and here it's in full form. And so it's like, wow, this is when people think they're smart. But it's not a lot going on. I don't want to hear about it. Hold on. It's a story in which a guy has visions, goes to a planet which they're mining stuff, and there's the local people that don't want them mining the stuff. So and an evil corporation might start a war over it. Only there's no mechs and cool purple flying dragons and shit, so I don't give a fuck. It's just dirt.
It's like so it's like New Jack City, is what you just described to me.
New Jack. Oh, man, I love New Jack City. Damn it! You just ruined New Jack City.
They're all naked, like making math.
But imagine if New Jack City was like in Hammett. It wouldn't be so impressive.
Imagine it. I've been there.
I love you, Bespin. Stop it. I love you. Stop. I'm calling you stupid. I have not. I called the movie stupid. You had nothing to do with that.
Dude, I mean, I like it. I like him. He's my friend, and I don't know why you keep calling him stupid. I love you both, and I wish you guys could just patch this up.
No, it's broken forever. You know?
I mean, every time. I mean, I don't know why I do spoilers. Meg does spoilers. Bestman does spoilers. But and you're really nice to me. But I don't know why you want to fight them all the time.
I live in a Taco Bell. What else do I have?
the Illuminati ran this yesterday, and it was and so in my opinion, I don't know anybody at the Illuminati. I am reading between the lines. I believe that the Illuminati has access to casting calls, to the casting database, and because I followed them pretty closely about Interview with the Vampire, which, by the way, sounds fucking awful. God, it's even if it's a good
Feel
show,
sorry for you, bro.
Even if it's a good show, it's not going to be Interview with the Vampire. It's going to be Interview with the Vampire, a name that happens to be a good show, if it's a good show. But the 5-year-old girl who can't die is now a cute 19-year-old black woman. I don't really see how the plight of the character is the same now. It's, unless my 6-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old black woman have more in common than I can imagine.
When what we do in the shadows is willing to go harder than your book, you got a problem.
Yeah.
Because there's like 12, 10-year-old little vampire girls that kill pedos in that fucking show,
and that's how they could have got around the weirdness of it. The fact that that could have been her. They could have just added that to the character, that her father molested her, was a bad dude. The mom kills her. The mom gets sick, and the mom kills the father. Gets sick, and then now that's like her hate. There's just little ways of making this stuff work, but I feel like everything sounds very cowardly about dealing with Twitter today, basically. But maybe that's my experience creeping into that. The Illuminati runs this thing saying, "We at the Illuminati have managed to no, it has to be like a proclamation. We at the Illuminati
Hold on,
have managed."
Like when they fly to your planet and declare shit from the Emperor, they get out the roll. Oh, what? Am I making fun of this again? We have uncovered more exciting news about Ahsoka. No, that's not.
Yeah, no. And a new character description. According to our sources, the series is looking to cast a man in his 20s to play another lead character named Riz. Riz is described as a bit of a lone wolf. Do you guys read between the lines there? Ezra and the Wolves, remember? World-wise, despite his young age and able to handle anything life throws his way. Oh yeah? Like full-blown AIDS?
Oh, no.
The character is listed as a series regular with options. What does that mean? Like, hey, I get time me done. I got options here.
He's polyamorous.
But no, with options, and that right there is another clue that this is about, is from the casting database.
You think Riz Ahmed's mad that he could have just had his name in Rogue One?
Probably.
It's like, damn it.
But yeah, I don't know. Riz, Ezra, there's that R and the hard R, hard Z's going on there. I don't know. It kind of does sound like it's Ezra, or I believe they say in their article maybe it's a character who reminds Ahsoka of Ezra for some reason. But it would not surprise me if it ends up being Ezra, because 5 years after Return of the Jedi, I believe he's still in his 20s. And why would we need a character who sounds like the character who we're looking for? In a way, like that's kind of like that would make Riz the Dash Rendar to Ezra's.
It's like a Solana and a Saloni.
Saloni, yeah,
in the same script.
But that lone wolf thing, that just feels like, come on, guys. Like, you have if this is Ezra, that is just completely putting it out there, that it's Ezra Bridger. In case you don't know, there's like a lot of stuff about like wolves, and Dave Filoni is like a wolf guy, and I think he likes to do peyote. I'm party, baby.
I'm a lone wolf. I'm a rebel daddy.
He's all, I'm a lone wolf, but on Saturday I get the pack together. Whoa.
A Filoni werewolf in London. Look out, Pinewood.
I showed my kids Young Frankenstein this week, and that one scene where Igor's like driving the carriage and Terry Gar goes, werewolf, and then he goes, their wolf, their castle. Like, it's so dumb, but it fucking killed me for some reason. It was so funny. But yeah. Filoni has a wolf fetish. He's in the kink community, I believe he's called a primal.
You think killer instinct? I used a wolf.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you think he wears a little tail on set, and everyone has to tolerate it? Like,
he's let's send Snoop Dogg a Mando suit because I like his doggy style.
I like your laugh.
It's like, whoa.
Favreau's like, he insists on wearing the kitty ear headphones, and I'm pretty tolerant. But it's fucking ridiculous.
That's how
they like. What do they have to light up too? Do they have to have sirens in them and shit? Like,
yeah. And then they like live stream Fortnite. And
what if every day on set he came in a little bit more of a wolf outfit? One day it's the ears, and then he puts in the teeth, and then the little furry paws. And one day he shows up and he's just in a full furry wolf outfit.
So
like,
Beth
do you have
says,
to?
Illuminati is made up of people from the GWW and the hashtag show who used to have access to casting lists. Yeah, so that tracks with what I think I know.
They put code names in those casting all the time, right? Like,
usually they do. Like when they were doing the casting for Saw Gerrera, they didn't say Saw Gerrera, they said Castro. You know, and like that one's just a clear one because he was like a Castro type character. And whereas this one right here, yeah, I mean, Riz.
What if Riz is code for Riz Ahmed, and really it means he's a pilot?
What?
I'm the pilot, you know?
But yeah, it does make me. I mean, it does make me think that this could go a lot of different ways because if number one is, I think it's probably didn't have to, and if that isn't the case, then we could have a situation where we have Ahsoka Tano, who's going to have all of this. You should be helping rebuild the Jedi Order shit coming at her constantly. And she's going to blow it off until maybe she can't deny it anymore. And this boy, if he's essentially an Ezra Bridger, another one, then now we've had Grogu, we have another Ezra, her finding Ezra probably, and then Luke Skywalker is at play because she's on that telling little Grogu to go to the Force phone, and I'm going to assume that she's maybe used it before or she at least knows of it. We never saw her learn of it in the Clone Wars that I know of, or anything like that. So it makes me think that if that's where this is going, like I kind of feel like we're going to end up with Ezra and the wayward kids and Luke Skywalker, and then what's the future going to be? Because that's a 30-year period before Kylo Ren fucks it up for the most part.
So if it is Ezra, did the Aladdin dude fuck up his chances, or do they just have to look at other people to appease?
Yeah, so when I asked about the Aladdin dude, right, I never got anyone who said, yeah, Aladdin dude is it. Aladdin dude is in. I never had anyone saying that. And in fact, at a time when certain scoopers, were saying that people were cast, no one had been cast. There was no such thing as a final this and a final that. There was a bunch of names. I have no doubt that if there's a chance that those people may have had legitimate names that were going for it. But I'm also of the opinion that for the most part, whenever you hear those names, in my experience, it's people who didn't get the role, whose agents are putting their names out there to get them listed in things like, oh, we're hearing that Rob is playing Ahsoka Tano's nephew. Joku.
I'm playing Duncan, South Dakota. Is the cousin to Duncan, Idaho. You know?
Yeah, and he's got a big old fucking Poe Dameron beard, but the top shaved off because it's a Gary Kurtz pussy eating beard. right?
And where was Duncan, South Dakota during January 6th? Where was he? I don't know. We're going to figure that out.
According to that Rolling Stone article, he just flipped on him. But anyways, yeah, I like Joel. Read Joel's. Filoni.
It's hilarious.
Call me Duran Duran.
I'm hungry like the wolf.
I'm on the prowl.
Filoni's the guy who gets the icy dumped on him by Robert Downey Jr. at the mall, right? He's not the Robert Downey Jr., right? Am I right?
No, he's the icy guy.
Scared.
He's the icy guy, yeah. But yeah. So I think well, not only do I think, like I know that they are putting the Ghost and Hera and Chopper, they're building a Ghost for the Ahsoka show. That is happening. And they are building or basically they're casting everyone from Star Wars Rebels into the show. It is going to be Star Wars Rebels for the people who didn't watch Star Wars Rebels. And in my hope is that what we end up having is all of Ahsoka's side of that story kind of told in live action very, very quickly. But I hope that we get Ghost Anakin along with flashback Anakin. Like to go back to the thing, I'm hoping for both, because Ahsoka, Tano, and Anakin have no atonement. There's no resolution. She goes into that temple in season 2 to fight him. His face is revealed. He's an evil asshole at that time. And then she goes along her way. But then now we have him having atoned. And there's there's two ways of getting at it, is that if the ghost of Anakin eventually reveals himself to her and they have a good conversation and atonement's reached, or she meets Luke Skywalker and Luke explains it to her and then she accepts what he did and atonement's reached that way. I'd like both of those atonements, honestly, but I also just want more Anakin. So, what am I going to do?
Well, that also raises the question that does the Force ghost of Anakin only speak to people he knew and he ignores his kid? Like,
yeah,
did Anakin? I don't get the sense. Obviously, they can do whatever they want. They can just say it happened. But I don't get the sense that Luke was having talks with Anakin Skywalker at any point. Otherwise, he would have been like, "Hey, Kylo, I talked to the dude, and he says you're stupid."
Well, when you end up with the Luke that we saw in the sequel trilogy, he's cut himself off from the Force, and so that's what makes that stuff not really come into play. And then I still believe
them, but in the past, right? Like,
well, no, we've seen him show up in the new Vader's Castle comic. The ghost is showing up there. Like I said, it looked kind of easy, but my thing is that, like, the idea of the ghost and Luke have always been a problem, because if Luke has access to all of those ghosts, same thing with Rey. If she has all of the ghosts of the Jedi ever who are now just able to show up to her, there's no problem. She has the council that she needs to do whatever she needs. And if you're going to tell more stories with that, you can't have that. And so what the solution that we see in Heir to the Empire is Obi-Wan going, "This is like the last time I'm going to appear to you. And you're on your own now. It's up to you to do the right thing." Kind of that conversation. And so I kind of think that we're going to end up with a mystical kind of idea behind it that is not unlike that, but probably not as stated, in the sense that you're only going to have that divine intervention when it's needed, when it matters. Like, and you usually don't hear people going like, usually when you hear about like ghost stuff with people's family members appearing to them and shit, it's when they need it, in stories and in reality, I guess, their reality at least. It's like usually that kind of stuff is like if it's somebody who they knew, it has to do with something. There's something significant to it.
Or they trip on spice and they see Hermit Fun Yoda just.
Or sometimes Sometimes a biker just walks into your house and goes, shh. No.
Bro, it happens.
No, I'm not.
And I have no fucking explanation for it.
No,
Unless you think I'll ever forget that moment in my life.
No.
Weird.
My drummer has the same story as you, by the way.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he just like says that he gets in bed with his mom and it's just him and his mom, and he wakes up and then there's like a dude in the bed and he looks at him and he goes shh, and then like that's all that he remembers of it, and it's like the same shh kind of thing.
How many people give you the shh in life too? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like I can only count like one I can remember. You know, it is weird.
But I thought it was funny that not funny, but interesting that you and he had like the same like kind of experience in that motif. But anyways, so the storytellers, it's going to be like the West End Games
West End Games
source guide that we were reading. Like, you can't just put them in whenever you want. You can't just have every time there's a problem. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin and Ahsoka's ghost. Can you help me? Like, that would just be really lame. Like, it wouldn't leave anything for the main characters to like do.
But it would work really well in a 16-bit video game.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, but so anyways, like there does come a point where I would even say that Luke Skywalker surpasses Anakin. So Anakin has some like, hey man, don't try drugs like me, man. Like, he has that story to help.
Just because this kid was straight edge and shit, nobody surpassed him. Like,
well, no, but he comes to the brave conclusions that Anakin didn't until the end of his life. Like, and so in a big way in terms of the world.
But Luke never had his parents leave him at an early. Oh,
yeah.
What if that was Luke? Like, if Rey had been Luke's starter, he's like, look, I had to abandon you because it's the only way you learn. Like, it's the only way you learn. I had to do it. Sorry.
Star Wars Senate says, what I want to know is how many blurgs are going to be in the Ahsoka show. I'm pretty sure they go to the blurg races, and Ahsoka bets too much money. Then she owes all of that money to Grand Admiral Thrawn, but his name is actual Grand Admiral Ron because he's in hiding now, post Return of the Jedi Wars. And it's in Space Argentina. All right, what do we got next?
Space Argentina.
Oh yeah, I was down.
I don't know why I found that funny.
So that one gets really big. So they're over at the Mando set this morning for Mando 3. They were putting out these like little set piece, like division markers, if you will. They're covered under a tarp right here, but it's definitely that one planet. It's definitely Navaro. And I don't know if those are actually like destroyed or if it's just like nobody gives a shit about the sides of that set. But and then one thing I wanted to mention was this little tarp thingy. We saw them put that out early on, and now they've put it out. So at one point they're filming without these, and now they're filming with them. We saw them do the test and put those tarps up for a few hours. Got the photos back in the day. We saw that Star Wars Fortnite ripoff game. We also saw them take that and use those there.
Hunters,
Star Wars Hunters. And then when I was but I was watching a Favreau interview, and in one of the interviews, that tarp is behind him on Navaro for season 2. So in case we were wondering, same tarp, definitely Navaro, but now there's trees. So does that mean that we're just seeing, some kind of, is Navaro coming back to life, or is things being good there, bringing the trees? I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of it. They're basically just filming on this little section right now. They tore down most of the stuff that they had out there for crew members to eat at and stuff. There's still a couple tables, but they never really did anything unless they're filming at night in the middle of the night, and I'm not catching it, which is possible, but I don't think so based off of the fact that
there'd be a lot of light out there if they did.
Yeah,
they can't just shoot in the dark.
Right. So
yeah, I don't know how I'm always amazed about how they piece this stuff together. How something like even when you were first taking shots of the first season of Mando, some of the stuff you can clearly see like the pine boxing right next to right next to the Star Warsy stuff, or there might be like a little overhang, but that's never in the shot. It doesn't even factor in. I'm always amazed at how like they're able to crop it in just a way in which you never see that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Dell says he's celebrating 3 months of membership. Thank you, Dell. And to anyone who's a channel member, you can become a channel member on the youtube.com or a Patreon supporter, whichever you choose. I still want to do things that like for channel members and stuff like that. I also don't want to make it one of those things where like you have to be one to be a part of what we do. So it's kind of like I'm not really sure what to do yet. But thank you, Dell. And
if you want to hear Rob rail about Dune for 3 hours, subscribe. Like we'll do that. the 10-hour Dune
podcast.
Review.
World Between Worlds is the logo. Is that just a red herring? Oh, it's in the
That's
logo.
Communism is a red herring.
No, for Ahsoka. I mean, I think it makes sense because we have Ezra Bridger, go into that whole thing and then use the space wells and it goes away. But I have to think that maybe that ends up being like the key to finding out where he ended up, like to finding a clue of where he is. Maybe if she goes there and she tries to look in on Ezra, and she was there, so she knows what it is, and maybe that's the key to getting Anakin in there. Maybe that's how we end up seeing the flashback, or maybe that's how we end up just how she actually is able to encounter his essence or whatever. Star Wars Senna says, I don't believe the World Between Worlds is in the logo. That exact pattern was in the Jedi Temple ceiling on Lothal when Ezra got his Kyber crystal and was talking with Yoda.
It just feels to me like Filoni and them were like, let's just double down on all the weird shit George wanted to do in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like that stuff. I'm not against the Worlds Between Worlds or the Kyber crystal or Splinter of the Mind's Eye and all that stuff.
They even did Lee Brackett's Walking in the Stars thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they even did that with Ezra. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish I could just get a list of the good episodes and ignore all the filler, So,
yeah.
I'm all for filler, by the way. I'm not saying I hate when people go unnecessary episode. No. I like it, but there are fillers. The Bad Batch is one of those ones where I'm like, this could have been 9 or 8 episodes. Like, 16, really? Like,
I feel like when the audience says filler episodes on whole, like when everyone's saying it, it's actually them dropping the ball on character, because if the characters were working, you wouldn't mind hanging out with them still. You wouldn't be so eager just to get to the
like
to
DuckTales.
The main points. Like DuckTales.
I like hanging out with all of them, but like it's a good example because there's 23 of those episodes in a season, and I'm like, okay, I enjoy all these. But you get to that minecart sequence, they drop the ball off in the Bad Batch, and I'm like, there was a chance to do some really fun, give someone a chance to put together a sequence that you wouldn't be able to do a minecart sequence in a Star Wars movie, I don't think. So,
right. Oh, we need to, before I forget, we need to tell Luke about that update that we got on the Never-Ending Story, Dark Crystal. Nike Hike says trees in Navaro indicate to me a big time jump, and that's what I'm kind of leaning towards too. I mean, either we're seeing another part of the planet, like maybe Grief Karga has moved on up in the society there, and it's a much nicer place with trees, or we have a time jump and the planet is not as jacked up as it was before. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. And then Luke says,
or is it like that shitty Blade Runner ending where they're driving in trees at the end? Remember in Blade Runner, the studio made him shoot an ending where it's like it's all beautiful and they're in trees, and he's leaving the city with Sean Young, and you're just like, why didn't everyone live out in the fucking burbs if that's like
if you don't like the city, just go move out to the burbs, man. Luke says, I'm thinking the Ghost Anakin teaches Ahsoka how to access the World Between Worlds more fluidly. Fully believe it will passively include a wonderful retcon of the end of Tross and all the voices of Jedi's past. So one thing I think that could really be at play here with that stuff, if that is an aspect of it, is that Ahsoka Tano goes to Mortis, which is essentially the wills, the concept of the wills. It's the father, the daughter, and the son, and balance between the father, the son, and the daughter is held together by the father. Anakin's actions in the world are making them become more powerful and teetering that whole dynamic. And eventually, when Anakin and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan go there, Ahsoka dies and she's killed. And the daughter gives her life essence, her life force into Ahsoka and dies. And Ahsoka then lives. But it also now has put the son into a very powerful place of evil. And that, it has there's aspects of it that are played out in Star Wars Rebels. You'll see these little cute owls called oh god, I just had it on the tip of my tongue. And these little owls, and the owls follow Ahsoka around, and you even see one in the Mandalorian season 2 before Ahsoka shows up. And that owl is the animal form of the daughter.
Alien.
No, yeah, right. But it is interesting that the symbolism is mirrored here, but of that force is there. And so with that in mind, like, I've always wondered if the idea was that Ahsoka's more ultimate fate with Filoni and Lucas was that she ends up essentially being the custodian of that place or something like that eventually, because now she is inextricably tied to that. And I feel like it's been dealt with in a way where they could just let that go if they wanted to. But also, why would you give Ahsoka a more basic fate in the big picture if we ever get it? Why would you ever make it basic? Like, oh, she got old and she died in Tatooine one day. Or why would you make it where, why wouldn't you make your character, who is played throughout all of the Star Wars sagas in some way now? Why wouldn't you have her? And she has this link to these immortals and these gods, and one of the gods gives her life to her. Why wouldn't that eventually end up playing in? And that's a George Lucas story. To
quote Marty McFly, bro, this is all very heavy. Like,
yeah.
I'm just, when you say it, I'm like, look, the cynic in me says they're going to do nothing like this, and it's just going to be like a Goonies fucking style treasure hunt, for like 8 episodes. Like, I get, this is like Filoni's big shot at making all this happen, and I'm super happy for him. And I'm super looking forward to this. But they never do this sort of thing. It would be the first time they really go full on like lore and tying everything together. They tend to give you a little bit of that at the front, big fucking MacGuffin chase in the middle, a little bit of it at the end. Like, well, that's.
I'm not saying that they're gonna two things here. The first thing is, I'm not saying that they're gonna do this in season 1. I'm not saying that's where it will go. There's gonna be multiple seasons of Ahsoka, unless everybody hates it for some reason, which I don't see happening. And the other thing is that bigger things need to happen for Ahsoka in live action than have ever happened in cartoons. Like live action is not your band playing at a bar. It's fucking Wembley Stadium. Like, this is where the big shit needs to go down. But
no one ever would have thought when you saw the first episode of Mandalorian that we'd be spending a whole episode where Grogu's in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
Like getting candy from a little kid, but
nobody also thought that Luke Skywalker would show up and take him away to the
that's
Jedi
at the very at the very end
of
they give you a little in the beginning and at the very end. I hope they don't do that. I hope there is big little big I like sure. Like a wave, right? Like same. But it tends to be like big dip and then this,
No, but what I'm trying to say is if we put the world between worlds in there, if that is an indication of that, and for the record, like what Santa brings up, I felt like that was foreshadowing where they were going to end up. Like when we see that stuff in that Jedi temple, like and with Yoda and stuff like that, and she's talking to Yoda over space and time, I feel like that stuff was tying into the eventuality of that. So I still see it as probably being linked personally. It's just that's my bet right now. But if we see this through to the end by some chance over 6 seasons or 3 seasons or whatever happens to be of Ahsoka, I feel like her having the life essence of the daughter and Mortis has to come back into play. There's one thing that Filoni pays attention to. It's what the fans wanted and didn't get, which may be why we have Anakin coming into this. And it also, we saw everybody get a little moist in their Star Wars panties when they saw Mortis and the Trevorrow,
Flight of the Navigator?
Yeah, Flight of the Navigator. No, in the Trevorrow script. And with that right there, that just says, oh, why not do that? Why not? And I talked to Filoni for about 45 minutes one night after the screening of the Savage Press episode in LA. Nobody gave a shit about him then. So I was like, hey, there's the dude in the hat. Let's go talk to him. And I talked to him for about 45 minutes after. And boy, did that guy like Avatar. If you think this guy next to me likes Avatar, oh, Filoni, he
now I can't make fun of him. Damn it. No, I can make fun of him. Fuck, I can make fun of Cameron. I can make fun of myself.
Yeah.
Have you seen what I wear? Like, do you see what my haircut? Like,
fair enough.
I'm always doing myself a disservice.
But yeah, he really, really liked Avatar. And Mortis is pretty inspired by Avatar. You know what I mean? You have like floating mounds of dirt with like a little palm tree on the side or some shit like that. But,
we spent $1 billion feeding this one palm tree. Like, all right, fuck you, dead. You know, I don't know, man. Like, it's not my movie.
But I mean, it could be fascinating because right now, because like if we look at so Luke says, yes, Jason, fully on board with that theory. Oh, before I forget, Luke, I believe we talked about Frank Oz doing the voice of the lady in the dark crystal. Somebody wrote me, and I meant to put it on the show, and I forgot, and I apologize for not remembering who told me now.
Luke, just to refresh people, Luke has a memory of Frank Oz doing it.
Yes, and there is a behind the scenes making of special, and you see Frank Oz doing the voice for extended periods of time, and that's where that came from. So
I have seen
crazy. That. Yeah, and
I saw that when I was a kid.
I believe, you mentioned it too. Yeah. And so somebody came and told us. I apologize for not remembering who told us. When I find it again, I will give them credit.
And they used to play those things right before the films and stuff too. Like if they were like on HBO or Disney Channel or something like that, they would play the making of before or after. Like if there was like when Return of the Jedi came to HBO, the making of Return of the Jedi, where you see them. Like they got little action figures and the little speeder, the speeder bikes, like trying to do a little animatic of the speeder bike chase, would play right before the movie or right after the movie too. So they're kind of intrinsically like tied together in a lot of your head, you know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and even when they used to show that stuff on television, they would oftentimes be like, yes. Stay after for how they made the Star Wars visual effects. The man who made Superman fly. They would sell that harder than the fucking movie that they were showing some of the time. You know,
Alexander Salkind. And Donner's like, motherfucker. I mean, it's an inside joke, folks.
But anyways, what I was gonna say was but Ahsoka, like if we look at what we know of her and we put those things together, she kind of has like, okay, so she needs to find her friend who got captured by the space whales, right? We got that. Okay. So let me get rid of this.
Free Willy Strikes Back.
Yeah. Her friend, they use the hyperspace whales and her, Ezra and Thrawn go away. So she feels responsible that she has to go find him wherever he is and bring him back to civilization, I guess. And so we have that story beat. But once that's completed, her two kind of like her two places that she can go is just to keep doing what she's doing aimlessly, go with Luke Skywalker, or the third thing, and that may be to deal with the like I said, the maintenance of this of Mortis and what all of that shit ends up meaning. And it actually, I think, opens up another story arc for her if that should happen, because Luke Skywalker brings balance. Luke and Anakin bring balance. Anakin brings balance. Luke is there. Now he's the Jedi who's restoring the order during a balance period. But we know that everything goes out of balance. And then Ahsoka is, I believe, dead. My opinion, if you're hearing the voices in episode 9, they're probably dead or not of this earth. So either she's in Mortis or she's dead. That's my take. And right now, anyways. And we'll have to see what they introduce in the series, because all of this may be completely just totally irrelevant.
There's a slim possibility to enrage the entire fucking fan base, where we get 1 or 2 seasons of the show, and then eventually we see Ben Solo kill Ahsoka. That would fucking. I hate to say that, but like I really fucking hate. I don't think they do it, but Or like when as we see in Mortis, if she becomes the father, or she becomes like the mother, so to speak, in that thing, how there was the father, and if she's the mother and the balance in the universe is out of whack, I don't think she can just leave there either. Like, I don't think the father can just leave there and let the kids duke it out and go crazy, because then things aren't held at bay. It's like this concept. I'm not sure if I've explained it clearly in any way to you at all, but basically, like, Anakin's actions are affecting them and their actions are affecting Anakin. It's like they're kind of like mirrors of one another. So as Anakin goes more towards the dark side and Palpatine gets more powerful, the son gets more powerful and is able to do more in Mortis than he could do before. And the daughter becomes weaker. And then the daughter straight up gives her life to save Ahsoka, seeing that as being one of the pathways. And it's you should watch it. It's fantastic. It's actually one of the really, really, really solid stories that was sort of, and it got pushed down a lot when Lucasfilm did its whole, we're afraid of the prequels. Those movies didn't have puppets. Then when they went that whole perspective, you kind of saw that stuff kind of like get pushed to the side. But Dave Filoni worked his ass off on that story, that arc, and getting that shit right. And I don't see him going, I'm just gonna drop that. The fact that we're seeing Star Wars Rebels picked up so hard in the Ahsoka series tells me that the Ahsoka series itself is a culmination of everything that they worked on from Rebels and Clone Wars. And I think it's the live action embodiment of that, because she is the cartoon embodiment of that era of animation when you get down to it. And so I just see it going that way, but that's just me. The problem is when you just feel like, look, as the outsider looking in on this, in this scenario, I don't like it when they feel they have to justify, why wasn't Luke, or why could Luke do this when he didn't do this? All Luke had, the power Luke had, wasn't that he was the greatest Jedi, or he could do. He wasn't. He was barely a fucking. He wouldn't be. I mean, I firmly believe any one of those younglings probably would have kicked his ass at that same age, right?
Master Skywalker, I'm gonna fuck you now.
He just had the one thing no one else in the universe had: Vader's love. Vader loved him.
Yeah.
Like, I know you love conquers all. That is the whole fucking point.
Yeah.
That at the end of the day, Vader didn't care about anything but himself, but now he cares about something other than himself. And so when they try to find a way to like power level things and make things like, and I'm not saying that's what they did, but it comes across like that way some way, you end up going, well, when they had to understand how he could take on and do this. And I'm like, I don't want to get into that. I'm not saying that's it, but it can come across. When I hear people talk about this, it's what it sounds like.
Yeah, no, it was more like metaphysical, like as we start listening to the heavy metal, Satan becomes more powerful down there in hell. Like, it was like kind of like that kind of
You're not helping.
Yeah.
No, I get you.
But
I'll get around to this. I will.
Anakin doesn't necessarily become more powerful because the son's becoming more powerful.
No, it's the opposite. As more evil enters the galaxy, it balances out someone else to like counteract whatever. I just think though, like,
by the way, the implication was too that the father was a previous chosen one, and that was his fate.
I don't know. Very Dune-ish,
Yeah, but yeah, no, but
we had to keep fucking to make a chosen one who could talk,
so
who had space telepathy.
If that was the case,
and it was Sting was the previous one,
and Anakin dies. Does his ghost go to Mortis and become that? Because that was the other thing, is when the Clone Wars ended, it had the Jedi temple, and it had a tree, and it showed like this like 3 leaves, and the
Elden Ring,
and the 3 leaves were to represent Anakin, Leia, and Luke. Those 3, and you have the Mortis arc with the son, the father.
Always leave Padme out,
and no, but I almost feel like, and I'm not saying that it will go this way, but I feel like if George Lucas was running the show at the end of everything, at the end of 9, you probably would have had Anakin, Leia, and Luke sort of being somewhere in that trio, if not Luke, Leia, and Kylo, sort of becoming like that new thing. And but in harmony, because that's the other thing, is there's like disharmony in there when the balance is broken. But I think when there's balance, I think those 3 people, those 3 entities in Mortis are probably not at war trying to trick each other and stuff like that. It's just straight harmony in that way. So Filoni is the one who is carrying that Lucas torch too, and those Lucas ideas, and has the meetings with him off the clock of Lucasfilm to talk about what their plans were.
Do you think Filoni gets burner phones so they can't tell? He's like, they're always listening. So I got he's like Saul Goodman. He's got a fucking full of
tools. Where are you? And he's like, I'm at the Chinese buffet. No, you're not supposed to say where you are like that. You're supposed to use a code. I'm
wearing a tickle thing. If you send me an OnlyFans tip, I can get tickled.
I need an OnlyFans for us to communicate. So when I put 2 toes up, it's me. Ew. So yeah, but they. Yeah. Quentin Tarantino has some OnlyFans memberships, I'd say.
It's only toes, bro. Only feet.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. But that's me extrapolating on what came before. But I don't feel like just if it's going to be disappointing if the show is simply a gimmick of, you saw him drawn in animation, now see him as real people. It's like that becomes,
but that's the MCU is hinged on this. It actually works. I hear what you're saying.
They don't have me. I enjoy a lot of it. I'm like, I don't care.
I just like it when people make decisions and fate has nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the idea of fate and ghosts. I like my Shakespeare, so I don't mind a ghost coming to warn you or some fucking weird shit. I do enjoy that. But what I love about, Kurosawa samurai films, or that whole genre, is people just making right decisions to help or bad decisions to help, and then suffering the consequences of both.
Yeah.
And, you can win today, but also lose tomorrow. I mean, that is the thing.
Sorry.
All right.
Pucker twice.
Give me the sauce noodles, when you're eating noodles.
George, you look just like Droopy McCool in the butt. Sorry.
Oh no. You went there.
I did.
I didn't go there. Just for the record, I've created enough damage for today.
Yeah.
Now I believe Meg is Bespin Bulletin. By the way. It gave me a little too much info today. You always make fun of me. Huh.
Yeah. It's like a Mortis somewhere with me, Megan, Bespin. We're like, no, you're just running wild, big disharmony. No, but but yeah, I hope it's more than that. I hope it's the Ahsoka show is more than, like I said, here. You saw her animated, now or see her in live action, because
I want Thrawn.
Really
Thrawn is the thing that I'm coming in for. I'm like, now I'll get to see the live action Thrawn. I hope they don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because say what you want about a book. I don't care what Timothy Zahn rewrites or whatever, or the comic, or if he even is in the cartoon. I'm not interested in any of that. When it comes to the live action, You know, like that's where people are going to remember this one. Like, I love the Star Wars visions. How many people, if I bring up Lop, like, I love the when I bring up Lop, it's the people who know what I'm fucking talking about, they're my friends.
Yeah.
But the average person, they're not going to remember it unless Lop's in a movie. You know,
Average person, yeah, and maybe Rabbit Girl.
That's
maybe.
Lop.
That's what I'm saying. If you said Rabbit Girl, not
Rabbit Girl. Oh, right.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, and no, I'm with you, and that's what I'm saying is we've all seen Ahsoka, we all know who she is, but this is like Ahsoka going to the big time. Ahsoka's made it now. She's going to New York. She's going to Manhattan. She's going down to Manhattan to make it big. The Big Apple. No, not that one. The other one.
Like Strawberry Shortcake. It's one of my favorite albums when I was a kid.
She's going over.
Strawberry Shortcake goes to the Big Apple.
Manhattan Beach.
Yeah, she sings the New York, New York. I know, it's so dumb. The shit I got stuck with when I was a kid. Yeah.
Your parents probably ran an Annie for you, and you got to watch that.
Oh, my mom didn't have it. My cousins gave me this because all my cousins were females. I was like, here you go. You know, I was like, great. I love Sanrio. I love Sanrio stories are great. None of my friends knew what that shit was. Yeah. When I went in there, I was so happy. My friends were like, where the fuck you going? I'm like, dude, they got these amazing fucking stuffed animals. Like, you know how hard it was to be a kid who liked Sanrio in 1988? Yeah. Jesus fucking Christ.
Hello Kitty was a good time. That little frog, Karopi, whatever the fuck his name was, like that dude partied.
Bats Maru's my shit.
Filoni's too rich a storyteller to take that kind of route, in my opinion. And
we can always sell out, buddy.
Yeah.
I got an action figure now.
It says it won't jar OT purists as much as the sequel trilogy, possibly. You know. So,
unfortunately,
Father and Mortis. Yeah, that sounds right.
But unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, it's the last card they have in terms of translating something that you've maybe always wanted to see into live action that you haven't, right? Like, and pairing it with Thrawn kind of puts them all together in a way. But they haven't created enough new stuff outside of the films that lasts. I mean, at this point, Afra's, and again, Afra is like, it's like Venom. It's the evil Indiana Jones, right? Like, it's not, she's not really evil, but sort of, right? Nefarious, right? So like, there's just not a lot that they've created other than that series, that character who went through two different series, you know, because they saw it through. I'm hoping that they do create more stuff that isn't just D. Bradley Walker, whatever.
D. Bradley Baker.
D. Bradley Baker just owning the entire. Because I mean, I don't want a whole fucking live action show.
D. Bradley Baker's dozen.
I don't. I like multiplicity. I don't want a whole fucking Star Wars saga based off that.
Give me all the Batmans.
I know. I know everyone's like, what are you talking about? Oh, it's scary. I don't. It's gonna look weird when you see a bunch of fucking clones running around in a whole series. It doesn't, in live action, it looks odd. It's one of the stranger things of the prequels when you do see them. That's why I like that they become the enemies, because it's weird to see a clone of fucking a bunch of people running around. It's not.
It's unsettling a little bit.
Imagine if they cloned someone you hated. Like, somewhere out there, Django's someone's shitty ex-boyfriend. Like, you gotta see your ex. Imagine if your ex, Jason, was the stormtroopers. Like,
imagine, Django takes you out. The date's going really good.
To Taco Bell.
I really like this guy. You start freaking out. You're like, you know what? I'm not gonna let him fuck me, but I'm gonna blow him. Start blowing him. He farts on accident because he had a little bit too much of that pad thai, and you're like disgusted. And now
you know what it is? Ground beef burritos never sit well. Like that's why you got to use it. Shredded.
Ground beef burritos are bad. And then now every time you see a stormtrooper or a clone trooper out during the war, you're like, "Oh, I want to throw up in my mouth." That could have happened.
That's not what I meant, but thank you.
Well, Dave Filoni's going to tell that story someday.
What if he just went up into a Hall H the first time in like 10 years because of the pandemic, and he just starts rambling nonsense like that? Sorry, it's been a while since I've been back.
my dream is that Dave Filoni, he comes up with this idea that he could get whatever he wants out of Lucasfilm and Disney if he submits a ridiculous idea and then tones it down, but then submits his real idea. So he just hires me to come up with those ideas. And I'm like, so there's this girl, right? And she sucks Jango Fett's dick, and then he farts, and then she sees clones, and she's like, and it's like, that's perfect. Takes that to Lucasfilm, pitches it. They're disgusted. They hate it. Then he's all, okay, I got this idea for an Ahsoka
But Bob
Tano's
Chapek's
movie.
like, I'll make it. You know what? We just increased park prices 200%. Fuck it. You know, what do you care?
Chapek walks up, hands him a piece of paper. He's all, what's this? He's all, blank check.
Oh my God, all the dough whips I can handle. Yeah.
What's Luke says, fortifying existing productions and resetting
It goes two up. You got to go two up. They're tied together.
Oh, whoa, what's going on here? Wait, where am I now? Now I'm on Dills. I'm everywhere. No, I was right. Wasn't I right?
Luke says, I think you're right about that being the last card, Rob. They're tied together.
You're right about this being the last card, Rob. But Lucasfilm know how much division the sequel trilogy created, and there seems to be a real change in focus. If these interlocking shows pay,
next one,
is that pay off?
Next one,
yeah, but they go down to the bottom, then they flip up to the top for me. That's why I hate this interface. Then they could comfortably eclipse the sequel trilogy and set the ball rolling again. So I will tell you one thing that I know about Lucasfilm's perspective on that stuff, having talked to some of those guys and gals and theys and thems, is that they think we are all dumb idiots, which is kind of true, who only remember the last thing, and the last thing ends up being sacred, and the next thing is always in jeopardy. And once you move, the further you move away from it, the more sanctimonious people get about that stuff. Like
people are excited about Hayden Christensen coming back. I don't know, guys. Maybe you've all been in it for a long while, but as a person who stepped away from the Jedi Order for a period of time to come back, to watch collectively the fan base go, yes, that was the worst rated actor in those films when they came out.
Yeah,
you know, people shit on Jake Lloyd, but he got the fucking real shit.
Yeah.
You know, what movies did he do out? He got that Jumper film. He didn't do much, but
he was Jake Lloyd, but your girlfriend would fuck him. So
I went to go. I took my radio show uncle to go see Life as a House before Attack of the Clones came out, so I could get. And he was like, my uncle, who's, you know, fairly deeply conservative, conflictedly conservative, right? Like, if you get him around conservative people, he becomes more like, kind of like your Mortis shit, but you get him around liberals, becomes more influential, impressionable dude. But he came out there going, this is a great story, it was really good, I'm looking forward to it. Saw Attack of the Clones, this piece of shit. Know? I was like, poor dude can act, you know, like, what is going on? So I'm glad, but what you're saying is, the further you get away, the more people fondly remember.
And that's one of the, like, you might know about this more than I don't know. But what I had heard that the data at Lucasfilm was like super interesting, in that basically they lost a ton of original fans when their prequels hit, but each film grew the fan base with different people. It was completely new people replacing the people who they had lost, and they kind of like tread water. They didn't really like grow, but they didn't actually like die, and that's why they were kind of okay on those like movies. But what you ended up having were a situation where that original audience was able to get over it and then get excited about the next thing, and then that audience who came in for the prequels was still there, being like, yeah, I want Clone Wars, I'm interested in this. Like, and then Clone Wars itself, when it came on, ended up getting, for Cartoon Network, was getting like 3 to 4 million views on a lot of the on the premiere nights on Friday nights, which was really good for that cable channel. And so that right there was like another kind of seed to like grow from. And so what we're seeing right now is a mixture of those things. It's not exactly just people, but it's both.
Also, the prequels aren't held in this holy trilogy, like greatest of all time, you know, belief system. So when you say they're coming back, you're like, oh, they could probably make that better. Like,
cool.
You know, like they couldn't possibly make it worse. Careful, but like it's always possible. You know.
Yeah. No. I mean, there is completely a chance that I don't believe it, but that like Kenobi could come out and be unnecessary. We didn't need it, and it just brings a tired Ewan McGregor back, and he's doing hello there, and you're just like, why?
Well, he goes, hello, Jason, Anakin.
yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, that could happen. I don't think it will, but it's, you know.
I always felt that when Lucas was in charge of stuff, it's very much like on a Walt Disney situation. If you watch like even Disney's Imagineering thing that they put out a couple years ago, the documentary on the parks, it's for a PR piece. They're okay with the reality of some of that stuff. So I always felt with Lucas, similar to Walt Disney, the excitement in the project kind of mirrors his own excitement. So like Jedi has a weird tone because I feel George Lucas had a weird tone. The prequel has more of this like possibility thing, right? The Phantom Menace has its possibilities, and so it fills more with this possibilities. But then Attack of the Clones is like a reflection of like they're very tied to his moods.
Yo,
you know,
sure.
like
as an artist, I totally agree. Like my vibe on that one is 100% what you just said. And like with Attack of the Clones, he's like, one part of him is like, wow, it's exciting to be challenged to do a love story in a Star Wars universe. And like he wants
but then I hate love.
But then he goes to do it and he's
forgot.
I think there's a difference between being like a romantic guy and an idealistic guy.
Do you think
we saw his ideals, but not any actual romance?
Given how old school Lucas is, if he were, let's say everyone loved the Phantom Menace collectively, and so he goes in the Attack of the Clones to do a love story. Do you think there's a scene in which he would have like Jar Jar's like a real smooth operator with the ladies, but Anakin isn't? So he's doing that Sereno, you know, that bit where Anakin has to go to the Naboo porch and then our Jar Jar's in the back. Misa wanna take you out.
No, he's like,
give you the tongue, you know.
I say, hey, Sans, it gets everywhere, sir.
Yeah, Misa, hey, I mean, I hate the sand. She's like, what?
Yeah. Now touch her back, sir. We'll win, sir.
I just feel like there's a Lucas that would have done that, you know?
Oh, Padme, I am now touching your back. Are you?
It probably would have been 3PO. It probably would have been 3PO because I know how to smooth the ladies, Master Anakin, you know?
So Dale says they're not going to change the sequel trilogy that much. They're going to change the way you think about it, just like they did with the prequel trilogy and the Clone Wars. Yeah, I don't actually think that they're going to change anything. They might give perspectives on it to allow you to have what you need to make it work for you. You know,
there's a series waiting to be made where they deal with the Snoke shit and Rey after the math of episode 9. Because I just feel like all that weird Exegol fucking weird shit just hasn't really had a finale of any kind of sort. You know, it's kind of left hanging. You know,
you know what I find interesting is that like about myself is I love the prequel trilogy. Was never really happy necessarily with the haters of it, but the haters of it did adopt the discourse that the Jedi are just bad and shouldn't even exist, and like the whole thing is like they shouldn't be there. And then Rian Johnson's like, yeah, Luke would think that too, and then gives it to like Luke, and it's like, and it's kind of interesting because in a weird way, it gave permission for those people to feel that way. But then the movie ultimately also says like Luke is being a little bitch right now and needs to fucking man up, and like, you know what I mean. And it does go there, but that is like an example, I think, of an acknowledgement of a fan discourse in a weird way, and then how you could contend with it in the story itself, because that's one of the weird things that I think that they run into as creators is that you have fan service. But then there's also, you have to contend with actual legitimate fan anxieties about the ideas and concepts in the story too, because it's like George Lucas, it was a one-way show. He threw the ball and walked away. But but for everyone else, it's like the ball is kind of ping-ponging back and forth at times. And
I'm not gonna comment on it too much because I risk getting myself stuck in quicksand here.
Okay.
But I have experienced this with Crash Bandicoot fans
Yeah.
who have a very they have this. There's a whole group of them that just. I mean, I bought all the Crash games when they came out, but I always love games and anything, as you know, from a technical production standpoint, how they were made, what did they do, what were the challenges. I don't get into the lore too much. See, Crash would have done this. I'm like, Crash would do whatever anyone wrote him to do, so long as it feels like Crash, that's all. But when the fourth game came out, there were people who were like, this would never happen. No. And I'm just like, how long have people been spending writing what they think these characters should do for how long? And that easily translates to Star Wars. Well, I always thought Luke would do this. And it's like, all right, but you weren't hired to write the story, so you don't get to say what Luke would have done next, I mean, that's just the reality of the way it goes. But yeah, there is a fanaticism and there's healthy fanaticism and unhealthy fanaticism. I have, as you know, a fanaticism about what Michael Keaton's Batman has been doing since Batman Returns. Because to me, Batman Forever is an offshoot universe. It's a splinter. It's not the same one. It's an offshoot. But I'm like, I want to know. I have all these ideas in my head, but I'm not going to walk into the Flash going, motherfucking fucking. I do find it funny, though. Batman fans and Star Wars fans are very similar. Like Luke Skywalker, the son of a wealthy dude, saves the fucking galaxy, wears all black in the end, has a traumatic, my parents died thing, eventually quits, and then fans hate it. But in Batman, they loved the story in which he quit and came back. It is weird how they won't accept it with Luke, but they accept it with Batman. Batman can quit too.
Or even that, just a dominant discourse forms, and it's what's heard for whatever reason. Because
the loudest. Even if it's the minority, it's the loudest, right?
Yeah, and then it becomes well, that's a thing out there. People are saying, and it's well, some are saying, but not most people don't feel that way or care. People say, And James says, how's it going, James? I was told Lucas didn't want to do the prequels. He was all in with young Indy, but when that didn't go over well, he changed course reluctantly. Yeah, it didn't.
I don't know. I look. My take is he really wanted to do the Phantom Menace. Mm-hmm. It took him forever. I don't think it was easy, but I think he really wanted to do that film. He looks excited on those making of docs. He looks genuinely we're doing it again. Oh, this was great. It's gonna be all different. And people didn't want different. Yeah, they didn't want different, right? They wanted more of the shit. That's the thing. This disconnect between he wanted to do something different and had it been called Knights of the Old Republic and it was 1,000 years before and nothing to do with Darth Vader, I think they would have been more accepting of that difference, But when they're this is just took place right before the film you love, it just looked too different, felt too different for people. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I agree. And now that we're used to that, now that Coruscant doesn't seem weird, Naboo doesn't seem weird, it's people got over it.
No, people would love to go back if Naboo had been the third fucking planet, the final planet in Rise of Skywalker. There had been a big battle there between the First Order. That would have been, again, the reason why I think too nostalgia works with the prequels is because even if Lucas didn't maybe want to direct or he didn't want to write, whatever he had to do for that Pepsi money, they did go all in on developing the shit we did see on screen. Mm-hmm. Right? They really developed it. They didn't just JJ, they actually really developed this planet will have this and have all these fucking creatures. And this is why you have these books filled with a bunch of creatures that aren't even in the film. They thought through a lot of the planets and what would be there and what would go on in a way that the original trilogy didn't have. Closest would be maybe Dagobah because of all the paintings Macquarie did, with the spiders and everything else. So I just think that those locations were fleshed out in a way that I don't feel anything in the sequel trilogy is really fleshed out in any meaningful manner.
Yeah, I wish they had done a callback to Return of the Jedi. How they shoot the multiple planets moments where
the opening part, the original opening to Revenge of the Sith, I wish was the one they storyboarded that they cut. I wish that was the opening of the film. I think that would have made for a better opening. But nobody, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'll call it. Come back to me in 10 years, folks. Nobody 10 years from now is going to be like, man, I hope they have a battle scene on Maz Kanata's planet. You know, like, it's just not memorable location. You know, maybe Canto Bight people remember it because it was so fucking ridiculous, like, you know, for a bunch of reasons. But that's still a location I think is probably the most fleshed out location.
Well,
Jakku,
I think if the rumors are accurate, Maz Kanata's place is going to be shown so much in these new live action television shows that it may get it may be viewed differently because of that.
And then it gets blowed up in 5 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's the thing too. So, but I'm just saying the nostalgia for that planet doesn't exist. Maybe the castle, but you don't know the planet. You're not thinking Naboo's a planet. It's not a city. You know, like if I went to the Making Star Wars Schmodown, right? And we were like, name the fucking capital on Naboo, or name the capital in episode 1. They would say Naboo. They wouldn't say Theed Palace or shit like that. Like, you know, the average fan doesn't even know. They know Naboo, the Naboo. So, you know, like the Gungan city, man, that Naboo's.
It's just a shame. It was Gunga. The answer's
It was so fleshed out though between the planets and the underwater, that design look, you know, like I just wish they had done more with it, like in Revenge of the Sith or in another movie.
Yeah. I kind of feel like they're not being any of those callbacks in the sequel trilogy that should have been, like in 9 specifically. Like I said, like that Return of the Jedi moment where we hear that there's these battles everywhere, but then you don't see them.
Like
but
in Dune.
Return of the Return of the Jedi shows us. Return of the Jedi shows us like Bespin being liberated and Coruscant being liberated and that kind of stuff like that. And when everyone was going to show up to the fight, and then they're like if they had shown all of those planets throughout the 9 movies, getting ready to go gear up towards that battle, showing up, and Lando was pulling it together. Ooh, well, that would have been a fucking opportunity to have used Lando. Not
even Endor don't look like Endor. It's weird. They don't look like Endor, man.
I love the Ewoks. I love the Ewoks. That does not look like Wicket to me. That looks like Wicket got fucking lots of Botox and plastic surgery on Coruscant.
It's wiggity whacket.
That's it's the same cognitive dissonance I had when I saw James Hetfield on Rodeo Drive buying fucking designer sunglasses and clothes. Remember that picture of him in flip-flops? That is that Wicked. That does not look like Wicked.
It is a shame we expect musicians to live the fucking life, right?
Oh, if you're going to be the Prince of Darkness, you got it. You can't fucking do that.
He was like, look, man, Lars was a big influence on me, you know, like little rich kid made me a little rich kid, big rich kid.
Fair enough. Yeah. But Jesse says that Dune was so good. When you come back on, Jesse, you can be the guy who defends Dune.
Anytime I need to get right to sleep, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's amazing. Like I'm out. Like,
did you watch the new Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No. I had to finish Only Murders in the Building. I'm almost done with that, and then I'm gonna start that. So.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, okay, let me make sure I hit everything that I wanted to show. Did I hit everything I wanted to show? Oh, no, I didn't. There was something else to show. Boom. Why does the logo go away sometimes and sometimes it doesn't? I don't know. Nobody does. Wait, how do we make... Man, nothing wants to... Anyways, what I love about this Indiana Jones picture that I got from Indiana Jones 5 News, but they cite the source there. He has his little tie on. He's wearing his little tie, just like he used to on Last Crusade. I got
my little schnauzer the same kind of little tie when we picked him up from the day we had to pick him up from the Humane Society.
Right.
I got him a little innie tie, just like that.
Yeah.
Oh, he's wearing a fedora. Hate him. No.
It's fedorable. Remember that's our new word of the week, fedorable. But yeah, I was always a fan of that costume. I would never cosplay Indiana Jones. I know better. But if I looked like Harrison Ford, I would probably have done the Last Crusade one with the tie, because that looks cool. But yeah,
I want to see Indiana Jones team up with David as pumpkins for Indiana Jones.
right.
and any questions, you know? Like,
Did you ever see like that era? Like was David S. Pumpkins like the Chris Kattan era? When Tom Hanks was doing it? That was
That's
after?
right when the kid, the fucking, I always forget his name. The Good Burger guy. He's fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
when he first showed up.
He's been out for like 30 years now, though.
I know, but he never aged. He just looks like the Good Burger kid. I'm so fucking jealous. Like he's aged so well.
Yeah,
Gosh, man.
He did What Up With That, or whatever that song is. What's Up With That? He did that again this Saturday. But
that's awesome.
But I saw this video of Chris Kattan, and Chris Kattan like fucking like broke his fucking neck or his back or some shit doing the Golden Girls sketch, and it's so shitty working at SNL that he had to go finish out the whole season pretending like it didn't happen. And that's why Chris Kattan got all addicted to drugs and all fucking like cracked out. Remember when he was like all crazy Chris Kattan?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, that's why. Because he couldn't tell them because they would fucking fire him. You know, he was afraid because that work environment is so shitty there. But I thought that was pretty fascinating, you know?
Never meet your heroes. Fucking
yeah. SNL
Lorne
sounds
Michaels.
like a horrible place to work. Like overall, like doesn't seem like it's really good for anybody in the big picture. But yeah, anyways, Indiana Jones. Yeah, he's got the tie back. How are you feeling about the old time travel thing? Are you feeling like it's a time travel story? I go back and forth on it. I do think it probably is, but like, and then the other side of the time travel stuff is like when you see the like Romans and stuff, they look all super clean. And
yeah, but things don't look the same in life as they do on camera, you know. So that
we are seeing it on camera, kind of, but I know what you mean, though. Filters,
grading, and everything else. It is different. I've yet to see one on-set photo that looks like how it looks in the theaters, bro. Like it's never happened. So
well, I just feel like that is a point though to consider. But I also feel like when you watch like Bill and Ted, and historical accuracy is not important.
Okay.
No, it's not important. Like okay. Abraham Lincoln, when you see him in there, he doesn't like people are talking about how he stinks because people fucking stank back then. Believe the kid doesn't stink. You know what I mean? Like there's
no underwear.
Like, or like even in Bill and Ted 3 when the Roman soldiers are showing up in that like the time rifts and stuff, they also look like those Roman soldiers. So I'm
only excited because Mangold's on board.
Yeah,
like. And Mangold has had a colossal failure in his past. It was the Wolverine movie. And then he followed it up with Logan, which to me is better than The Dark Knight. Like, I'm going to say right now, I don't say it's my favorite comic book movie. As a dramatic comic book film, a drama, that's the one that they'll be watch that fucking 20 years from now. It's fucking amazing. But I'm not saying I want every film a fucking tearjerker like that. That's not it at all. But to go from that Wolverine studio driven with the CGI robot, all that fucking bullshit, to the Logan thing. So Ford v Ferrari was fucking great. Like, solid film, you know? So because he's doing it, I'll watch anything the guy does. Now, you know, I just don't think we're going to get that weird alien who, like, looks in the camera, you know, and then everyone's eyes catch on fire in a vaguely Raiders-esque way. So, you know... I as for Indiana Jones going back in time, at this point, sure, because he believes in supernatural. Maybe he goes fucking time travel, and then oh shit, like every film is like what Indy doesn't believe in, and then he finds out it's actually real.
Well, I would actually in the fourth one, he's actually already a believer, which I thought was maybe a mistake in that one. Yeah, and that he'd already been a part of the recovered body program. And because of course he would be, so I could see it, but at the same time, it didn't give the character much to do other than be one step ahead of everyone else.
That would have been amazing for that film if it had shown up with Roswell and it wasn't it was actually like a balloon thing. But he doesn't. But the Russians actually believe there really is alien shit, and he's like, oh, I've been following around these ventures. Like the whole film, it turns out not to be, but then at the end there is, right? Like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like. Because that's the whole thing. Like, he doesn't believe in shit, and then at the end, he believes in it.
Well, a
So-
popular conspiracy theory that went around or has been around for a while is that the Russians were the ones who made the fake bodies and did the whole thing so that way we wouldn't trust our government. That they would say it was a balloon. They wouldn't want to admit the Russians did fake the Roswell crash.
Been a great subplot
then-
for that movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like if they had gone there and then it turns out no, this time it's real Dr. Jones.
And the adventuring is going to different crashed alien sites and shit like that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, they definitely I think could have made a better Indiana Jones movie than
With
they did.
the idea of UFOs and crash. I think using the same that because I got a lot of friends who tell me it's because of aliens, it's stupid. I'm like, no, it's not.
No,
Like this can work. It's just the execution of it wasn't very good.
yeah,
So-
the Saucerman script has a lot of fun moments to it. It just doesn't acknowledge that Indy's old. You know what I mean? That it pretends that he's 34 or whatever, 40 years old, and there's elements to all of that stuff that I think could have been better. I do think it's not as bad as people say. I still watch Indiana Jones 4, and The Mummy doesn't even come into the same league as it for me. At least
I'd have to disagree with that.
yeah, that's because you like the Scorpion King. You always talk about the Scorpion King and how cool he is, and how cool the Rock is, and how you wish the Rock was your friend, and the digital Scorpion King is pretty good for 1999. And I'm just like, I
Well,
disagree
my
with that.
Halloween outfit is the Tooth Fairy. So you got me. You're on to me,
No.
Wards. Ratting me out. But in terms of like grit and clean, again, we won't know until we see a trailer. Now, if the film is clean, so he's going back in time and everyone looks like, like the ABC TV movie version of history, it would be disappointing because Mangold tends to try to go for some kind of grounding in reality, right?
Well,
like even for 310 to Yuma, people aren't clean.
I feel like I'm bearing the lead here. The lead here in that theory or that idea is that Indy is actually that the Germans are rolling up onto a film set of Roman soldiers in that moment, and Indy is essentially taking the crazy German Nazi chase through a movie set.
And then they actually go back in time and you'd see a contrast.
Yeah.
That would be funny.
Yeah, no, but just that's what happens. Now, my problem with it is I just have a hard time believing that they were filming a Roman gladiatorial movie where the Nazis and all of that, like Nazi tanks and shit, roll through it like that kind of. I don't know.
When was
Ben
Hur or Spartacus made?
Ben Hur, I want to say Ben Hur was in the 50s. Like that was a VistaVision, wasn't it?
Yeah, but when was Spartacus made? Because Kubrick did that, right? Like
Spartacus was in color though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Spartacus. Yeah. So I'm saying that makes it. What I'm trying to say is that when we see the Nazi stuff in that
1960.
moment,
so it could. I mean, I know the film takes place in 69, but it could be like a Spartacus kind of like a nod to.
Well, but if we go with the theory, that would imply that it's the flashback opening with younger Harrison Ford from the opening of the film, and that would be 1944 probably. 1943-ish during World War II. And so that's that element of it. If we take time travel out of the equation, and I never got a really good. I never was able to get a confirmation on the MacGuffin, but when I asked about that dialogue rumor, I kind of got like the sideways like are you fucking kidding me kind of thing from it. And so I don't.
My dream is that it's the fucking monolith from like an actual monolith on the moon kind of shit, like because of all the cinematic like we were thinking of all the great treasures right throughout history, Ark of the Covenant, the Last Cup of Christ, a UFO. The fucking monolith is the one thing that from film that I believe has transcended into like, I guess that could be on the moon. We're always wondering, will we find a monolith? Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's kind of like I do feel like whatever I feel like there's probably should be a connection based off of what we know, that if the moon landing is the big setting, like they found something up there, and maybe what they found implies either time travel is possible, less
lightsabers.
possible, or you know what I mean? Though, like mankind has already been there. Like maybe they found, you know what I mean, something like that, and they're like, whoa.
Richard C. Hoagland gets a cameo.
Yeah, but there's a lot of potential there, or a lot of possibilities. But and then look at this guy next to him. He's like, fuck yeah, dude, Indiana Jones is gonna steal my car in this movie. So at least I think that's what's going on.
So have there been any disruptions with the flooding in Sicily, or did they wrap up already?
I haven't heard anything about it.
Oh, the lamestream media is keeping it up, but no, there's giant flooding in Sicily right now. So
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Man, if they're still filming, well, as we can see, it doesn't look like he's underwater right now. That was yesterday, but if they are still filming in Sicily, they really can't get a break, can they?
No. No. Lucas like, I warned you, don't make these fucking films.
I mean, trying to make Indiana Jones through the apocalypse. I mean,
no one had any problem making The Rocketeer, just fucking make one of those. Like, these fucking films are cursed. It's like it's like we filmed it on ancient Indian burial ground. Like, Lucas, you can't make those jokes anymore. What? Nope. Made a whole movie about it. Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we will call this one a show today, because we pretty much exhausted our material for the day, and we think we've done it.
Yeah. Well, by hook or by crook, we'll get this film done.
Yeah. And tomorrow, I think tomorrow we'll have Jesse on if he's free.
The Dune shill show! Can't wait. Yeah, that'll be fun.
He's gonna shill out Dune. He's gonna be like, I am Jesse, and I Thrawn Talk, and I represent Bespin Bulletin of the BespinBulletin.com.
I'll have all the McFarlane toys, and I gotta sit through that. Like, all right.
And then I got a message from Allison asking when we're hanging out next, and if Allison wants to come on tomorrow, she can come on tomorrow too. Hang out with
well, at least tomorrow. I'll barely be able to hear Jesse. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Oh, on a side note, when I broke the news that Kenobi had wrapped, I put this like tweet out and the story out, and this guy wrote me, and he's like, people don't say that in digital film anymore, like chastised the fuck out of me about it. And then he deleted it, thankfully, or else I would be showing it today. But he did delete it, and then but it was like literally what people working on the movie said to me on the show said to me. It's like, you're telling me that people work on the movie are using the wrong terminology, so therefore I'm wrong. It's like, no, you're wrong. It's just an old Hollywood thing. They never stop saying it, you weirdos. So
how many times on like when I've worked on something fairly high profile and I've been like, yeah, the doohickey. They go, yeah, we know. Like, not everyone. Like, it's funny how elitist some fans can get with, you're an artist, you don't know what that means. I know what it means, but just don't fucking use the words all the time because we got shit to do. Like,
what would it be? It's not in the can. It's compressed. I don't know. Yeah. Like what would you say? It's It's on the HG, bro.
Punch it.
Yeah. Anyways, thanks to everyone who supports the show on Patreon or as a YouTube channel member. If you think
it's in the Louvre. That's what we call it now, the Louvre.
By all means, so I can take this guy to the Louvre, and he could tell me.
It's in the Dune. See you in 2 years.
It's all George. Animal.
It's not about spaceships.